power of collaboration for salons, spas,
The
and
poster
barbers.
behind
This
you.
is Salon Spa Chat.
How fitting is
Stay at
that?
the office, honey.
I was just going to do some product placement here, like, oh, look. You know, but yeah, I guess that's kind of weird. Okay. I guess stand here the whole night. This is good.
Well, I sincerely apologize that we had audio and video issues, but let's go ahead and get started. I'm excited about this topic because it's one of my favorite ones, and it just shows what the topic is. Basically what we've been doing for the past 6 weeks is collaborating. So what I'd like to talk about tonight is just the power of collaboration. Specifically, collaboration is not new, but how we can grow in our industry and how beauty professionals can really benefit from collaborating in terms of exposing themselves to other beauty professionals, looking at other industries to learn from, and just overall how we can improve and be better, be bigger, better, and more compelling in our industry. So I'd like to start with you, Jon-David. When you think about collaboration, again, you are the king of collaboration as far as I'm concerned, because of the way you've grown your Salon Spa Chat channel as well as business. But what are you thinking when you think?
Well, right back at both of you, honest to God. I actually watched how you did your beauty summit. That was awesome. How you pulled in people. You asked, gosh, you know, what professionals would you recommend? You know, asking me, ask Jackie. You know, you pulled all these professionals, and we are, you know, I would say the 3-4 of us hosts, we are really in the game to elevate our industry, to elevate the salon industry. So we know we can't do this alone, and so with that as part of my or Salon Spa Chat's mission statement, I will do anything possible to make that happen. So that's what I do there. Mafi Hairdresser, the company, is to sell books, you know, so do anything to do that. But you know, that's a different collaboration. In the salon and spa industry, you can do the same thing that we're doing here. What is your mission statement for your hair salon or your spa, and how can you use you can ask yourself, what does collaboration mean for that? Is it other industries or restaurants that are near you, or is it other salons and spas that do the same thing that you do? Collaboration can only make you bigger and better, and there's no competing in collaboration. There's only growth and teaching, which is what we do. We are 4 wonderful coaches, and we collaborate, elevate together, and of course we all get business from that just by not even trying. I think that's great collaboration.
I think one of the key things when you look industry within the industry, if it's a salon or if it's a spa or if it's a barber shop, we sometimes think, oh, I don't want to reach out to the business across the street because they could potentially be taking away from our customers. But I think if we really pooled our resources and said, Jon-David, what's your salon good at? You may be good at color. Or Jackie, what's your spa good at? And then maybe we could make referrals. We could cross-reference our resources. You could have some products that we're not currently using. You could have relationships with manufacturers. You could have relationship with the restaurant across the street. I think it runs a gamut. And I think what we need to start to continue to encourage our industry is when we're collaborating, it really is about spreading the entire dollar, if you will, growing our customer base, as well as just making sure that we're legitimate business, because we are willing to share, we are willing to make referrals and recommendations when it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Hi.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
I had a heck of a time getting in tonight. I'm sorry.
We all did. I think Jackie had the
all did.
easiest time, but still, you know, I had a hard time.
Anyway, but I'm here, so sorry I'm late, but
it was glitchy tonight, and I think maybe it's just so many. Blab is popular now.
Jeff, we're talking about the power of collaboration, and I wanted to get your idea. Being a salon owner and married to a hairstylist for quite some time, what are your thoughts in terms of collaborating with seminars and at trade shows? Because I know you said you've been to quite a bit. Do you think there's a lot of collaboration that goes on there? And what are some of the best examples that we could learn from and continue to build upon?
Oh no.
That is kind of cool.
We can't.
We can't hear you.
You've got
you
Darth
buzzing.
Vader going on.
Yeah, Darth Vader. Yeah, I think it's your headphones. It's these type. Sometimes they don't work. It's very cool. It's so Star Wars. It's so appropriate this week. The new Star Wars movie opens up. No.
Nope.
Gonna
Are
have
both
to
of them on?
Are both of them on? If they're both on, they might do something weird. Darth Vader.
Actually, this is so cool. I would just like you to recite the Constitution or something.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah, this is better than Helium.
Maybe log back out and come back in. Maybe try that.
Oh, wait.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
wait, stop.
There it
Is
is.
that better? Is that
Yeah.
good?
It's perfect.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just took my microphone off. I don't know what that was. Okay. As far as, so I sound okay? Because
Yes.
it's important to me how
Yeah,
I
you
sound.
sound great.
Okay, I'm just kidding. But no,
You have
I
really
would.
high voice.
You're funny. Now Jon-David and I have had this conversation before, but it like as far as lifting up the industry, I mean, one thing we used to do at our salon, we had a really cool space, so we would oftentimes, like with our manufacturers that would do education, we would ask them to invite other hairdressers into our salon. So we would do education events with other salons around our state of Indiana. And that was always valuable because it would give you credibility with your, that you're kind of a beacon of education and things like that. So people would get talking within the area about your salon, and it sent a lot of goodwill. So I think that has a lot to do with the goodwill part of it. And then and I don't know if you want to talk about it now, or you had mentioned something too, Jennifer, about like collaborating with local businesses. I mean, we were huge on that, just reaching out to, being downtown Indy. So there were lots of attorney firms around and just other restaurants. And, we'd go out at night on particular nights, martini nights on certain nights and things like that. And just kind of just generally collaborate. I mean, I think if you're looking for hairdressers to collaborate with, that's like you said at the hair shows, you can talk to them because you're kind of out of your area usually. I guess, does that answer your question, or am I don't want to drone on too long, but.
I didn't have a specific thought.
Okay.
I just that we're looking at all types of collaboration. It's interesting because with any industry, it's always industry within industry collaboration. But I think sometimes we can learn best from industries that are not even relevant to us, like from service to service. So we use restaurants as a good example. Restaurants are about service. Restaurants are about consistent interaction. But each time you go in, like it could be my favorite Reuben, but we want consistency. So I think beauty can learn a lot from restaurants, but at the same time, banking, tech, different types of industries we can always learn and collaborate with. So I think
your example when you were talking about that across the street really resonates when you say restaurants, because you know how it's great to have a restaurant area in town. I've seen places where there's tons of hair salons, the spas in the same section of town, and you really just know that's where you go. And salon suites are the, a bunch of different hairdressers and massage therapists and facialists all in one place, but we don't do anything, but we're in the same area. So that's a bit of a collaboration by vicinity. I think that's a really smart thing for the consumer to know that it's there so they can shop there. It keeps you centralized.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. One thing I wanted to say is I think sometimes what I've heard from clients is they're scared to collaborate, or not just scared, concerned about collaboration because of fear of competition.
Mm-hmm.
So I say that's insane. Like you said, if it's 5 salons on one street, we can only service so many customers. Figure out what you do best. Figure out what customers your message will resonate with. Figure out who you want to serve and what you want to do, and then figure out how to draw those people in. And if it's not a fit for you, don't be scared to or I think you're doing yourself a service if you do recommend or refer out.
Absolutely.
Jackie, what are your thoughts? I wanted Jackie to talk about, go ahead with your thoughts, and then.
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely. And in fact, I think that one of the smartest strategies that you can have as a business person, regardless of what your business is know your quote unquote competition, right? The people that do the same thing that you do, right? And get to know them well, fall in love with them, have them fall in love with you, and refer back and forth, because for sure, no matter what they do, it's not exactly what you do. And their ideal customer, their ideal client rarely is going to be your ideal customer or client. Being able, in one of the guides that I created for my students, one of the things that I encourage them to do to stand out, to be different from the crowd, is to create a list of businesses around them, all types of business, any type of business around them. Get to know the people in that business and be able to refer to that business. So the local plumber, a really great plumber or whatever, because when you have that client sitting in your chair and they're going on about their life and what's going on and all this, and, oh, you know, I really need a good electrician and I just don't know any. If you're the person that can provide that resource right then that helps you stand out in your client's mind. Like, oh my gosh, she knew exactly who to refer and all that. It's a different type of collaboration. Maybe it's not your more typical collaboration, but my experience is that people in small business that I've connected with in that way bend over backwards to see me, to help me. And likewise, if the situation shows up, I bend over backwards to help them too. So I'm a big proponent of that.
Absolutely. Jon-David, what are your thoughts in terms of collaboration from a continuing education standpoint? So from a learning.
Well, when I owned a hair salon, I loved the fact that it was the 80s and the platform artists were just really burgeoning. The salon, Sebastian International was just the tops as far as showmanship. And because we're in LA area, we all knew each other. Every hairdresser knew each other. It didn't matter if you were working at Supercuts or you were working in a big hair salon. We all were at the same places over and over. And so the education, it just became normal to go over to this salon and get education, go to this salon and have education. It was just such a nice collaboration. In the Midwest, when I moved here to Chicago, it wasn't as tight-knit as that, and I think I missed that because there was a little bit of, oh no, I couldn't go, I don't want to invite other stylists here because they might think I'm stealing them if I host a, educational or something like that. So I think we have to get back to that collaboration between salons, have that open dialogue with the owners, and just, that would be great business to share our education, because then like the Kara-Stoss or the Paul Mitchells, they are more inclined to come in and give us free education if there's more stylists from different salons, and I think that's a great way to do it. And it's old-fashioned, but I think it's key.
What I often hear is that there are collaborations at trade and industry shows, but it stops there. Once they learn that, once they get that information or learn that knowledge, they want to be able to take it back to their salon, but don't extend to the salons within the metro area or even salons that are up and coming. And I think that, again, that's a missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always interesting. What do you think about masterminding and group coaching from a collaboration standpoint? Which I know masterminding is somewhat new for our industry. We know about coaching programs, but it's always, from what I've seen, is from the technical skills side. So coaching in terms of bringing up skills, teaching new skills, but business masterminding and business coaching for beauty professionals. What are your thoughts?
I know Jeff has something to say about it.
Yeah, I think it's always powerful when you do it. But getting people to do it's kind of the issue. An example, like in our area, there's a education area. They concentrate on bringing, big name stylists in, like Gino Stampura and Vivian McKinder and Rocata. I forget his first name, but a lot of different, and you would go and they would sell out months in advance. And whenever you would go to one of those, the people that were there were all the top stylists in our city. And it's just kind of a determining factor that when you do that, it's helpful and it would make you successful. So you have to, but to do that, it's tough to collaborate outside of that, because when I've had an experience where you go talk to other salons about that, and they aren't too receptive, and some are receptive and whatnot. But I guess long answer, but I think it really works well if it can be done. That's like Jennifer, you were talking about, you're going to start doing that with salon owners and stuff. And I think anyone that does it isn't going to say anything bad about it, I wouldn't think. But it's the real thing is to get people to do it, I mean, I guess that's what we're talking about today.
So Jeff, I have a question about that, Jeff, because that's really interesting and it's very true. So do you have ideas on how to make it less threatening, or less, maybe threatening is a very hard word to use for that, but what can we do as an industry to promote that more, where it's actually received and acted on? Because I know all of this, you can tell anybody and they're like, yeah, that sounds like a really good idea.
Well, I think we talked about it last week with the branding a little bit, or Jon-David had brought it up. I remember. I thought it was a really good point. Was like to get the manufacturers to take the lead on that kind of thing, especially with branding. Like teach people about branding, or whatever they're teaching people in masterminding. But I really think it starts with the manufacturers, because the reason I say that is just because that's always the only way it's always been done, education-wise. Very few salons will put on, I guess there's like Nick Arrojo in New York that people will go to his salon, or like I said earlier, Vivian McKinder, or maybe Ruth Roche or something in New York. And they'll do that at their salon, but it's very rare. But if you go the manufacturer route, it seems like it could be easier to get more people more comfortable. There's something within a hairdresser, there's a natural competitiveness there, I think, that it's hard for them to overcome just salons getting together on their own with no incentive from a manufacturer. I mean, would you agree with that, Jon-David? Or
I think what we're doing here is, it's not, I don't want to put pressure on the brands, but I do want to send a message by this dialogue that they can tune in, and over time this salon spot chat will grow, and people see it through our own YouTube channels or wherever. But the fact of the matter is, this dialogue should be going out to not only the stylists, the massage therapists, makeup artists, owners. They should start talking about this, but the brands should start hearing it. So, part of my Mavi Hairdresser and a little bit of salon spot chat just on Twitter, or just the content I'm putting out, is definitely a little bit more direct to the brands. Like, we need to teach social media to your salons. We need to teach it to you. We need to, get that communication going between the salons and spas, and we need to teach that we can do masterminding with groups and cities and so forth, not just for branding, but for education, elevation. We're going to lose our staff members to salon suites and mobile service providing. We find it hard to keep our staff busy in the salon because we don't know marketing 101, because I'm a hairdresser and I just want to be an owner, and all that stuff and Twitter, I don't really like it. But if we don't teach that to the owner who is being like this, that owner won't be there, and they won't be buying your products to the brand. So if the brands can make that correlation, that we will move up another notch in the evolution of our industry.
I think it's interesting that the brands haven't caught on. This is not new. We are that's such antiquated thinking. I agree with you, Jeff, that the brand should take the lead, but at the same time, there has to be some pull within the industry to say, hello, we got to do this, because like you said, with mobile, it's just too many different things competing for our dollars. We keep seeing so many do-it-yourself YouTube folks that come aboard who think they can replace the professionals, and they can't. So the brands have to understand that it's building the relationship with the professionals, but at the same time showing what's the big industry, what's the big picture for the overall industry. Because if there's some dilution in terms of the skill sets in our industry, it's going to directly impact the brand. If I'm at home thinking that I can go to YouTube and learn how to give a massage, and I'm buying equipment and towels and CRM services from a manufacturer, that's lost revenue. So I just think it's fascinating that we still somebody hasn't raised the white flag or the red flag yet for our particular industry.
So Jennifer, in your mastermind groups that you're putting together and all that, are you inviting manufacturers? Are you inviting the product developers to participate in the mastermind?
I am starting to reach out to some of the more regional some of the more regional manufacturers.
Because
that's an awesome idea.
Yeah, some of the regional. So because they don't have or they're starting to get the distribution, they have a little bit more hunger and a little bit more passion to serve. So that's who I'm reaching out to, and we'll see where that goes. I think, again, we just have to make the story.
Yeah, well, I think the synergy that could be created out of that and how that would impact really the industry, even locally, just on a local basis with different salons and spas that have people participating in the mastermind along with the manufacturers. I mean, that's pure gold.
And some of the industry publications too, for example, like behind the chair and Modern Salon, just kind of trying to reach out to them to get their thoughts on what do we do to promote the industry. So
yeah, and I'll pick on Behind the Chair. I'll take them on. They're one of the companies that are one of the more antiquated. They're trying to do everything in-house, and they're trying to do, instead of pulling like any one of us and say, hey, can you help us and collaborate with us to build this synergy, as we're speaking of, that would be the best thing. But they're trying to do it all in-house. Not only is their website antiquated, I mean, it's a clunker. I mean, it's just one of those things in social media 101. It's just, this is not user-friendly yet, and I'm sure they're fixing it. But also their social media isn't the new way we do Twitter, because Twitter isn't like it used to be a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And they're not teaching their constituency how to properly be good managers and be good social media marketers within the salon and spa industry, which will help them survive, I think. And I don't think it's just all social media and all that stuff. You have to teach marketing, but if I don't see them using their hair cutting videos as lead magnets to give the salons what they really need, which is a full spectrum of management, social media, and marketing, and emailing, all those basics that the surviving businesses will use and have.
What I see a lot of the industry publications doing is pushing a lot of product, but not the additional value add. So it's like, yes, it's sell, and we know from any perspective it needs to be completely reversed. Build the relationship, get the credibility, and then make the sell when it's relevant versus just sell. So, wow, I think that's a missed opportunity. Hopefully, we'll start to see something different. And then from Modern Salon perspective, I see a little bit more in terms of education and the ability, or it looks like the awareness behind collaboration, but just still more so, oh, this is how you should redesign a salon, or this is how you should retail product, when those subjects are very important, but they're kind of stale. Again, because if we don't have people coming into the door, then it doesn't matter if we have the most amazing pieces of equipment, because we're not.
Yeah, just talking to salon owners, and they're going, yeah, they get all the hype and all that, those little tidbits, and they go back to the salon and go, well, this isn't changing my business. I'm not getting customers in the door by learning those wonderful little tips. It's that marketing. I worked at a salon at a bad location, and if without marketing, you can't get people in the door now.
What I've heard from a lot of independent stylists is like, well, if I do a webinar, that's cool, but I'm not going to see any results in my business. And I'm like, well, so someone has to really be there to sit to teach how to scale up or how to put people into a funnel or messaging, like the whole 9 yards versus just saying, I go to a webinar and tomorrow I'm going to have 55 new clients in my book for a week. I think it's oversimplified. And I think that from a collaboration standpoint, that could be an opportunity to help coach and mentor and train so we can get that business that those independent stylists as well as salons are looking for. Jeff or Jackie, what are your thoughts? Anything that we could talk about?
Are you speaking actually to independent practitioners doing their own webinars? Is that what that?
I've seen some independent practitioners. So like, for example, some experts in a specific area like coloring. I've seen a color expert do some webinars, and she has great participation. And I asked her, what's the feedback in order to be able to sell additional services to those folks who attend the webinars? She's like, they learn the information, but they're not seeing I am gapped in terms of being able to teach it to how to apply to their business to grow their customer base. So while they get the initial skills or get the initial knowledge, how to continue to build upon that might be a missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a collaboration right there, because I do see a lot of hairstylists and colorists teaching that skill, which is out there, but to add on how to make it sellable and to attract new clients.
That's an interesting concept. That's really interesting concept, because then that's a different business model, right? Because if the webinar, if the clientele or the audience for the webinar, if you will, are other stylists learning technique, right? Because presumably it's not the average person at home watching a coloring technique webinar. I mean, it could be, I suppose, but then we run into that whole thing, people doing it themselves at home, which, you know, is a difficult thing. So that's kind of a different business model if they're going after other people in the industry. It's not bad. I would love to personally, you know, I sit there because I'm not a hairstylist. I would love it if somebody local to here or anywhere, because it doesn't matter, did a webinar, a full-on webinar on 5 holiday blowout looks you can do at home. I would watch that. And if they were selling something along with that, if they were selling product along with it, if they had an affiliate agreement where they could sell product or they were retailing or whatever, as an individual who doesn't know how to do anything with super straight, you know, long hair, I would not only watch that, I would probably pay to watch that.
Wow.
Right? So that might be an interesting. Okay, there you go.
I'm sitting here, and that was such a great idea by Jennifer, and so many people have said, JD, why don't you make videos for hair? Like, I used to be a trainer for L'Oreal and so forth, but you know, I really want to teach social media to the crowds, marketing to the crowds, as you can hear everything I've said tonight. But I could use that as, like, I do know how to teach blow drying. I do know how to do those things. I do know how to teach coloring and neat techniques that, you know, are only I think I know, you know, because they're so weird and strange. But yeah, that would be great. A lead magnet for clients to, and this is how you can make money with it if you tell your client this, and how you can share it this and do an email like this, you know, or yeah, so I'm good. I think I've changed. I've heard this enough times, and now you just hit it on the head. I think I need to do that for me.
I mean, I think that totally closes the loop. I go to the class, I get the skills, I come back, I'm ready to practice. I don't have anybody to practice on. How do I upsell this to my clients? We talked about this when we talked with Jeff about promotional ideas for the holidays. How do I upsell? But more importantly, how do I add this new skill via my collaboration into my business to make it sustainable, to make it more revenue? I think that's the big missing piece. Because I always hear, well, no, it's no big deal if I go learn some different color cutting techniques or whatever, how to apply different type of makeup, because my clients only want X. They're only put in a box. And I'm like, do you market your additional services or what you learn to your clients? How do you even introduce that to them? So teaching holistically what we can share with the client, I think is huge.
Such a done. I'm doing that. This is good.
Pepe?
Because Jackie, from a spa perspective, like, in terms of collaboration, there could be someone who has a certain level of expertise. Like I like hot stone massages, but it's kind of, I find that those are, I don't want to use the word anomaly, but very specialized if a person does it right. So if I'm new, I learn that skill. How do I share it or share it with somebody within my same business or within the community? I could become the hot stone expert.
That's right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great we're talking about video, that's a lead for me to teach, but if you learn hot stone massage and you're a massage therapist, you can talk to the camera and talk about the benefits of it, send that little video up to YouTube and use that YouTube link and email it to your clients so that they hear you, see you, so you can do what you've learned and your clients can hear you, see your excitement, and then they'll decide if they want that or not. That's a great way to get what you've learned, turn it around, market to your clients, and that's awesome.
I think just for us, and we all are making this point, and I love Jeff speaking this, is I think that the possibilities are endless. We haven't even scratched the surface yet for the beauty industry about how we can better collaborate. Yeah. So, Jeff, what are you thinking?
And I listen to you guys, the webinar idea, that is a very interesting idea. Jon-David jumped out. I think, it's all about, like, with the marketing part, we're talking about collaboration and marketing. I mean, and the people that are watching that want to get new clientele, use the webinars to get new clientele because, however you would advertise those or get the word out. I mean, that's the tough part, I think, for stylists is how do you, if I wanted to do a webinar, how in the world would I do a webinar? Technically, it's tough. And then it's also tough to get people to come to the webinar. So I think initially, like if you did start doing webinars, maybe the easiest way is, like you had said, Jennifer, with new products that you might have in the salon or things, was just try to market it to to your existing clientele maybe. And use it as a way to show new services that you might have, and then kind of hopefully grow it organically. Because I think sometimes we say those things, like for us, when we do webinars, when I do a webinar, I advertise on Facebook and I create a landing page and blah 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 blah, which isn't so easy for a hairdresser to do. But on the other hand, if they could do a webinar through Google Hangouts for free for their current clientele, at least. So just talking to people that are watching this, I think that would be a great way to start upselling your services and letting, salon owners let people know more about them. But I do think that's a great idea because hairdressers are in an industry, literally, I would have to say, I don't know if you guys could come up with too many others, but hairdressing and salons are literally probably the most competitive industry there is, literally. So it's tough. It's hard to begin with. So something like a webinar, I think, could really help you separate yourself out from the pack that way. So that's good. Is there anything that's more competitive than the hair business? But on the other hand, everybody in the world gets a haircut pretty much. Or, well, sorry, Jon-David. Not everybody. Sorry. No, but
that wig. I'm wearing that wig again.
But so it's really, really competitive. So if you can come up with different ways to separate yourself, and I really do like that webinar. I think that's a great idea.
It's a great, smart idea.
But
so can I bring that? Oh, I'm sorry, Jennifer. Go ahead.
Other industries like restaurants. Aren't restaurants super competitive, like fast food?
Well, yeah, but a restaurant, I've always made the argument, you can go to a restaurant every single day. You're not going to get your hair cut every single day. And people go to more than one restaurant, but they don't go to more than one hair. Well, I guess now they do. But yeah, restaurants is like, hairdresser is once every 4 weeks, once every 6 weeks. People can go to a restaurant 3 times a day and go to different ones. So I think comparatively, everybody does eat, but I just think hairdressing is tougher. And maybe I'm just, being subjective, but I would say it's tougher to be a hair salon owner than it is a restaurant owner on a number of customers basis. There's probably some management issues that restaurant owners probably have to deal with that are tougher with food going bad and those kinds of things. But anyway, that's my thoughts, I guess.
So can I just take 1 second to string out the idea around the webinar just 1 degree further that really incorporates in terms of collaboration? This is actually more collaborative in terms of platforms and getting the content to the end user who hopefully is your client who's going to be in your chair or on your treatment table or whatever. I've long been a huge proponent, and some of you have heard me talk about this, of using Pinterest specifically to reach your actual, not just your actual clients, but the local potential clients in your community. Doing the webinar, it is hard. Jeff, you are so right. Okay, not only the technical issues and putting together a webinar and all that can be overcome, but taking the time to develop an audience to actually watch it is very, very challenging unless you have been super smart about your business from the beginning, you've been collecting email addresses, you have their permission. That's not that common in our industry. At least it's not my experience that it's been that common in our industry. However, people love Pinterest, and it's very easy to say, you know what, I've set up a board for you on Pinterest, really exclusively for you. Like I see a cut that I think would be awesome on you, or I see a color that I think would work with your hair, and I'm putting it on this board. You do your webinar, you put it on that board. First off, your client is madly in love with you because what? You're on Pinterest spending time thinking about them, right?
Awesome. You could do a pin for your client just on the products you would recommend her.
Yes, but you'd have a board for your clients. You can have a private board for each individual client. And it doesn't need to be updated all the time. It doesn't need to have a lot on it. But the idea that you've gone out of the way, created a board in their name, and then the webinar can live on there. That's collaboration between platforms. That's social media really working well and landing in the actual end user's lap.
That's a brilliant idea. I think that's an awesome idea. If you're a hairdresser, if you're a massage therapist, do that. That's a great way because we don't
you're
like writing. We don't love writing. I mean, yeah, we don't like writing those prescriptions. We're not great sellers. But if I can give it to her in a pin and recommend the hair cuts, and if I think it's something, I can just pin it because as an artist, I don't mind being on Pinterest all day. You know, that's awesome.
Yep. And that's the other thing, by the way, especially for the products that can only be sold in your salon or spa, right? You pin it on the board and say, I'm keeping this for you for the next time you come in because you really need to be using this texturizer. I love it when I talk about hair because I have no idea, but like texturizer or, you know, or this new tool I think would really work to make your hair not so straight or whatever. It's a very simple gesture, even if there's 3 pins on it. It's a simple gesture, but it lands huge on your client.
Social media collaboration.
Well, I think too that, Jackie, the really nice thing about that too is you're talking to an existing client, someone you already have a relationship with, you know, and that's so much easier than building new relationships, you know. So take those relationships. That's a great way to current relationships to really, you know, make them better. And then you start asking for referrals from those people or whatever, you know, because they'll brag about a hairdresser that does something like that for them, for sure, you know.
And by the way, our existing clientele tends to be our most ignored clientele,
yeah,
right?
exactly. That's
so
always my
busy
argument.
developing
Always.
business.
Yeah, always. Yeah, you've got
like I got you in, forget about it.
Right. Yeah, that's no, I think you're exactly right about that. I mean, that's, to me, doing things to the existing clientele is first and foremost the most important, not just finding new clients all the time.
Yeah, it's through them. It's really a good ratio. Like your clients you already have are your best, they're your best sales force. So really concentrate on them.
I mean, just look at your numbers. If you're a hairdresser, look at how many people each week you do that are an existing client and how many people that you do are a new client. And, you know, if somebody that gets 2 new clients a week is a pretty happy hairdresser. Yeah. But you can't live on 2 new clients a week. You have to live on those 30 existing clients per week. You know what I mean? So don't set your happiness based on all your new clients. Set your happiness based on your current clients. So.
And for those freelance makeup artists, I think, again, Jackie, Pinterest is a perfect example. I want an everyday look. I want a special occasion look, and I want a look that's outside of the box for me. And every time I get my makeup done, I can never, ever replicate anything. Like my brows are so amazing. Like the contour, I'm like, oh my gosh. And that's when you really get a chance to see the artistry. And I always say, instead of like the color swatch, instead of the swatch from the store or the swatch when she comes to my house and her just drawing out, why not give me a board or give me something? Like I take a picture, but I can still never replicate that. And that's somebody that I see 4 or 6 times a year on these special occasions, I think is perfect. And I think I keep asking makeup artists, I've asked several of them, I'm like, for specific people who have, outside of the wedding industry and outside of prom season or special occasion, what about cancer patients? What about people who have really undergone some physical appearance challenges? Huge opportunity, huge market. But that's the way to collaborate with the hospitals, with the product manufacturers, with different types of people, especially from an appearance standpoint. Same thing for the estheticians. And, I just know personally most recently, because that was my story. But again, just like, wow, like, I just want to shake a stick at them, at the folks and say, you guys are missing such a huge opportunity. Mm-hmm. I'm talking to 20 women and everybody kept saying, I just need some help with how I look. I'm like, wow.
Can I say a collaboration thing? Or
yes, absolutely.
Collaborate with bartenders.
Yes.
I mean, we've had the best luck with go to different bars. I mean, hairdressers like to go to bars. I'm just giving you a good idea. And I hate the stereotype. I know hairdressers. But anyway, find a hairdresser, tell them you do their hair. When you do go to those restaurants and bars and things like that, try to do those people's hair, because they see a ton of people during the course of the day and people are asking them to get their hair done. And we used to do that a lot. Where we would do bartenders, and what do you know, you get to be friends with the bartender, you get a free drink every now and again, and all those kinds of things. But it's like that's a really easy collaboration in your area if you have bars and restaurants close by to your salon.
You're absolutely right, Jeff. And the truth is everybody likes to be asked to be a model.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, really, it makes you feel good inside. And all it would take is a hairstylist going, especially my students, I want to say this to them all the time, go in and just say, your hair would look amazing on the style that I want to try. Can you come in? I'm going to do this pro bono. Just if you like it, if people ask, I'd love you to tell them about me, blah, blah, blah. Jeff, I think you're absolutely right.
Right.
And then go one step further, hand them something, little chocolate kisses with a little list of, and here's how you can help share it, on Pinterest, on this, take a picture, put it on Snapchat, whatever. Here's my tag, here's my hashtag, here's my Twitter, like whatever it is.
But even if you don't have to ask them to do all that. They can. But
I do now.
Or it's the old-fashioned social media where you're just there in front of actual people. But it works. It works really well, and people, the age demographic and things like that. It's really, a lot of times bartenders and waitresses and stuff are more experimental with their hair and things. So you can really do a standout haircut that just kind of pops more than an average. People are attracted to that and will ask and things like that. So.
Yeah. That's a great idea, Jeff.
Super, yeah.
And I think for bartenders and restaurants that are new and opening, the new swanky places that everybody's flocking to, a great way to, because people ask people all the time, where's it? People just ask for referrals, like Jackie mentioned earlier. Just a source of referrals if it's a great neighborhood location or a great spot for that.
Yeah. Or where you kind of known, get known in your community that way, either by going out or like Jon-David, by using Twitter and those kinds of things. But yeah, for sure. I think so too.
My head is spinning off with ideas right now. Like, seriously, I need to change my business completely now, because now what I want to do is I want to set up. No, but think about this, really. Think about the salon that gets the opening night gig for a restaurant, right? Mm-hmm. So all the wait staff is on point. Their hair's looking great. Their makeup's looking great. Everything looks fantastic. All pro bono. The salon doesn't make a cent that day. The next day, the next week, the next whatever. If the entire staff of the restaurant is coiffed, I mean, really done in a beautiful way, edgy, whatever it works with the restaurant.
Yeah, I mean,
Pure gold.
Yeah, we had a personal example of that. There was I don't say, there was a department store that opened up in our area, and we went to them and offered, they were having a grand opening night, and they would announced it like 30 days ahead or whatever. And we kind of had some ideas where we had models that would just walk through the store with their hair done. And we got so many people business from that just by collaborating with them and creating good hair, and people, wow, their hair looks great. Where'd you get that, your hair done?
And
And all
it's
that
good
kind of
community. You're
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
creating community and so forth.
I mean,
Again,
like you said, you don't make any money when you initially do it, but this is the residual. Or we used to go down to the local mall. We did it a couple times. One time I guess, but we just stand there in the mall and did hair for free for like 3 hours with our whole team, and then we just got so many people. There were still people lined up wanting to get their hair done that couldn't, so they decided to come, and other people come, and
Hey, Robert.
stuff like that's good. Like collaboration like that's really good.
I think the key message that we send to our industry is we really have to reach across the aisle or reach across industries and really focus on the common goal. The common goal is we're building our businesses, we're building a community, we want to share key learnings. We can all learn, we all have something to contribute, and it's nothing lost. Specifically, Jeff, you mentioned restaurants are not necessarily a good example, or fast food restaurants not really a good example, but I think maybe we can really look from some industries where there's something that we could potentially learn. Like fast food restaurants may not be a good example, but they have, from an operational standpoint, they're very efficient. So we can look at something from there. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an industry to industry comparison, but I think the key is just to start to look, where are the commonalities? We all want to make money. We're all driving traffic. So what can I learn from this industry? How can I partner with this particular business and make it sure it's mutually beneficial?
For sure.
Okay, so I'm going to have to jump out. I have to be across town in 5 minutes for Foodie Chats, the online Twitter chat. We're promoting Angus beef tonight, so I got to go. Love you guys all. I'll see you on Twitter in 10 minutes.
All right.
All
All
right.
right. I'll put out whatever
Thanks,
next
Jon-David.
Salon Spot Chat episode when I rewatch this. See you guys later.
Fabulous. Have a great night, JD.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
John.
See ya.
Does anybody that joined want to jump in? Certainly, we are about to wrap up, but we are talking tonight about the power of collaboration, specifically for beauty professionals, but we're not limited to that, because as we all know, that any industry can benefit from collaboration. And while we all work in the beauty space, we are certainly open to hearing from best practices from whatever industry. Again, I think the key is it's just focusing on what's common. How do we drive traffic? How do we have satisfied customers? How do we continue to evolve and grow our businesses is what we are looking to teach and to share knowledge in terms of collaboration.
So Jennifer, while we're waiting for maybe somebody else to jump in the seat, I was reminded this morning, this is a perfect fitting the spot right here for this. I was reminded of the video that went viral last year with WestJet during the holidays. Do you recall?
Yes.
Yeah. So while the people were waiting in the, Robert, exactly. Engage, and build relationships. Absolutely. So the people were waiting and they were checking in for their flight, and they had this whole Santa set up, and Santa would ask the kids, what they wanted. It was all video based, and everybody said what they wanted: underwear, a flight home, a 50-inch screen TV, whatever. They flew to their destination. When they got off the plane, their presents, whatever anybody asked for, they got. It was waiting for them when they got off the plane. And what was brilliant about that was they showed in the video the behind the scenes, what happened after that plane took off, right? And all the WestJet staff went crazy, and they went to the malls, and they collaborated with Panasonic, or I'm saying this live. I don't know that it was Panasonic, and no affiliation. I'm just saying they went out and they did this and they made it happen. What was their payoff? Their payoff was goodwill. Like WestJet looks like a rock star. Now, I've never flown WestJet. I don't actually even know where they fly, and I don't know if they're a good airline or not, but what I know is that impressed the hell out of me, because they got so many different businesses to collaborate towards one cause, goodwill. That's brilliant. I just thought I'd throw that example in there right there after Jennifer said about the different industries getting together to, oh, Adam's coming in. Hey, Adam, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Oh, we can't hear you.
Do you have audio?
See, that was the same look I had. I know, it's a weird night on Blab tonight.
It is. There was all sorts of technology issues when we were getting on.
Okay, how about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
there it is. Hi, Adam.
Huh. My headset is not working, but it's picking up input, but the microphone, the webcam's picking up microphone. Odd. Anyway, hello. Usually it works the opposite, but it's okay. So,
Welcome.
hello.
I feel you.
So Robert, Adam, collaboration. I want to say, every time I say that, I want to actually say, stop, collaborate, and listen. Every time.
That's great,
Well,
Jack.
I forgot that this is recorded.
And now it's forever ingrained.
Oh, dear.
Well, with collaboration, at least with tech, I have a friend who has so much experience. He's basically retired, but he still consults. And he's mostly does hardware and networking, things like that. And, he doesn't really do his database stuff. He used to, but not really. So we actually go back and forth where he'll call me up, a database question or something new because he hasn't been doing stuff. Or I'll call him up like, all right, look, what protocol is this? What do I use? Hardware, what's this? And it's so nice to be able to just have that person to go back and forth, whether it's email or phone call or however we communicate. It's a huge, not tool, but it's just a huge, it's a great thing. Yes. Great. Thank you. Great resource to have, knowing that, okay, if anything comes up network that I don't know, or it's there a protocol, I know he will, I can just call him up, and it's, and vice versa. He calls me up and like, because he doesn't do a lot of mobile apps and this and that. So he'll call me up like, iOS, tell me what this framework is. All right. And I tell him. So it's a good collaboration. Just, it's so powerful.
I mean, I think too that's a really good example. I mean, to kind of relate it to the salon industry. I mean, there's so many different people that work with so many different things within the salon industry. As in tech, there's like you said, and there's different infrastructures, whatever you're doing, if you're doing database or whatever, and it's the same for like colorists or hairdressers or something like that. And people have to think, collaborating within the salon. I mean, when you do have a problem within the salon, you collaborate with your own people, hopefully, within the salon to help you fix that problem. So start thinking about getting outside that box too. But yeah, the whole collaboration of, you just can't count on yourself to know everything. You know what I mean? So.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the network building is so important. It's not just about getting jobs, and it's not just about getting speaking gigs or whatever it is, excuse me, in your industry. Your network will help you fill in your own gaps. I mean, especially as small business owners or small business practitioners, you need that support, right? Mm-hmm. So part of the concept of network building really needs to be about not just what can you do for me, right? Like the old school networking. Here's my business card. What can you do for me? Mm-hmm. New school networking is really about filling in where your weaker points are. That actually makes you stand out more as a professional, I think.
Yeah, you don't have to feel like you have to know everything either when you collaborate. You put so much pressure on yourself sometimes to know everything, but why not collaborate, and you'll know some things that other people don't know, and vice versa, and that's a powerful way to be a business person.
And I'm a business coach and I'm a marketer, but I don't want to be the smartest person in the room because I'm not learning anything. The student, I learn so much from the student because they have insights I haven't even thought about. I learn something from the person who's been in business for 20 years because they just have a perspective that I don't. So it's always a balance. It's always just being able to engage people, understand what their challenges are, being able to sort of step into their shoes and try to help them solve their problems. And a lot of salons say, well, I don't have any problems. Business is great. That's wonderful. Why don't you try to help and bring along and mentor a salon that's struggling or that's just up and coming, or mentor or a student or mentor another, like I said, another salon or even another business. Like if you've been in business for 25 years, you're making gobbles and gobbles of money, you still can give something back. There's an opportunity to collaborate. It's up and down and it's across the board. And again, I think we just sometimes sit in our little silos and say, oh, well, we're only a barbershop and we don't have anything to do with a spa. And I just think that's such a missed opportunity because we all are about service. Mm-hmm. Service just transcends, even within beauty and even across industry, I think. So that's what I'm looking to keep sharing.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Do you guys have anything else? Adam, we are so pleased that you joined us.
I know, I'm thrilled, Adam. Although you say you would never model, I don't believe it for a second.
And just Adam, as Jackie mentioned before, really from the tech industry, like our industry is still getting up to speed in terms of tech. There are so many salons and spas that are still very manual, which we can't understand.
See, yeah. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it surprises me because, the age group coming out of going into hairdresser styles are young. Usually they're all about technology. So I'm surprised that the salons aren't up to date. But go ahead.
I think it depends on where you are in the type of salon, but I still think there's a pretty big gap.
Well, they're users of technology.
They're users, but not for
users. Right? Because, the truth is user interface almost across the board for any technology that they would be using is, Jeff, in your salons, what scheduling software did you use? Did you use one of the big ones or did you do an in-house?
Well, we started when we first opened 30, 40 years ago, there wasn't anything. So we just developed something. And then at the end, we were using Get Rosie and then also Mind Body. I use, I can't believe people don't. There's still people that aren't using online scheduling.
I know, it's crazy. But so the unit
that aren't for sure. So
yeah, the user interface is so easy that these young people that are coming into the industry, it makes sense how to use it, but they wouldn't know how to reprogram. They wouldn't know how to code. Certainly wouldn't know how to code. Not necessarily wouldn't know how to code so that they could create an automated system for sending out thank you notes. Although I hate that idea. That's a terrible example. But or an automated reminder system, right? Mm-hmm. They wouldn't know how to do that. And really, their salon or spa that they work for should be able to accommodate them that way. But what we're seeing in our industry is a major shift towards people wanting to be freelancers. And they go and they experience that for a bit. Most of them usually come back or quit. So, because it's hard. It's just really hard. But yeah, so there's a whole avenue, Adam.
I wonder if the software, for scheduling all that, are they up to date with, all the current ways to social networking and getting out? I wonder if that's the case. I'm not familiar with a lot of the software that they use, but I wonder if if the salon says, okay, I'm going to use this system, and they're using it, is that system updating, or is that system just out there and that's it? Is the person behind it updating it to current social media and current, ways to use it?
It's most of the stuff is pretty bare bones. It's just, it doesn't integrate with a lot of, Mind Body does, I guess, but most of them just kind of, as long as it can email reminder appointments and schedule online, that's pretty much all a salon will do. Like automating social media and Twitter, or social media, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, things like that, Instagram, the software doesn't really have a capacity. The big kind of robust ones are about tracking business and different email, different ways to email your clients with birthday reminders or, appointment reminders and follow-up things and things like that. But as far as integrating across with a bunch of APIs across all these different platforms that there isn't one out there that really does that, I don't think. I mean, maybe somebody will tell me there is, but there's not.
I'm not so sure that there are very many salons that would pay for that add-on, frankly.
No, as long as you can email and do appointments, that's what they want.
Exactly. It depends on how deep the salon owner wants to go into how much they believe in the power of social media, or
right.
Or how much power they would like to give away to their individual operators within the salon, because that's another issue.
Like most of the software sells on the functionality of keeping inventory and doing all those kinds of things as well. But as far as like a marketing type of thing, like I said, just seems to me, I mean, that's what I've kind of noticed mostly. So, or everything, actually.
So there's not a lot of customization in their software. They're kind of using a blank, generalized system.
Right.
Because the custom systems, or at least because I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm biased, that's what I do, but I find that a lot of people or a lot of businesses are happier with that because they can have the system do as what they want to do instead of trying to fit their business into, okay, I can use this because, here, and then take this one and and make it all work. They shouldn't do that. They should have, what's your business process? That's how the customized software should work. You shouldn't have to try to fit around different things. It's just too antiquated.
That doesn't exist in the salon industry.
I'm working on sure to make it exist.
I mean, if you can come up with some kind of custom thing, and yes, maybe, but it just doesn't. They don't think, they're not creative with their software.
Right.
Really, they're creative with everything else, but not software for sure.
Because I created one for instance, a pest control company. More pest control companies will use it, but they had no system really. And then they said, well, I'm kind of using this for email and that. And I said, okay, how do you do business? He explained how he wants to, because he just does certain things. And that's how I made the system. He said, okay, you want to do this, this, and this, and this? Done. Here you go. And he loves that, So it's just, that kind of thinking obviously is usually not, people don't know that software can do that, I guess. But it's, getting them convinced. But once he knew that, he was so happy,
Yeah, so. Absolutely.
All right. Anything else you guys can think of you'd like to share? So Adam, again, we thank you for joining us. We certainly have to get you on just to talk about, from a tech standpoint, what we can do. Because,
sure.
Yeah, that would be a really beneficial conversation, I think. And I think that's one of the areas where salons are gapped, and they are constantly asking, what can we do? And again, Jeff, making that sale, going beyond just scheduling an email. What else can you do? I think that not a lot of time has been spent making that sales story, but maybe you can help us, and that's something that we can share.
Yeah, so. Definitely.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, thanks you guys.
Thank
I'm going
you.
to stop recording.